Bye.
Hi, welcome back to the Trio Media Digital Marketing Podcast. So on today's episode, I've got Claire Daniels, CEO, first time.
Yeah.
And we thought this was a good opportunity to talk about the 4-day working week because it's been everywhere. Yeah. You've experienced a lot of press calls coming in about it. You've been in the press about it. You've taken your own approach and gone on LinkedIn about it. So yeah, today that's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to kind of start at the root of it. So Claire's going to kind of explain why we are doing it and how it all came about.
Yeah. So and I get asked this a lot actually, so people might have heard it in one way or another by now.
You've mastered it.
If you've seen us on ITV or
you've heard us on the radio,
or on the Financial Times podcast,
anywhere.
But you're hearing it here, unedited, the
Live
official
version,
word from us, and we'll talk more about that, about how some of the message has been misconstrued along the way.
Yes.
But yeah, this year, as every year starts as a business owner, Christmas is the time to kind of reflect a little bit. You shut down from things, because there is a point to this, by the way.
Yeah.
I know it seems like I'm going to start a ramble. Even when you go on holiday, the office and the work is still going, so you never truly switch off from it. But at Christmas, everyone stops. So that gives me the best time to kind of reflect and plan for a new year. And coming back in January, as you'll probably recall, Colleen, I came back in and said, right, the key word for the year is productivity.
Yeah.
And I was really feeling that of like, we need to get more from the resources we have. We can do better. We can output more. I want people firing on all cylinders. Yeah. So what can we do to be more productive? So we sat down. I kind of communicated that to the business.
Had a huge meeting.
Yeah, we had a team meeting, and I said, what can we do for you to be more productive?
Yeah.
I can't remember actually a lot of the other things that we brainstormed.
I know that we wrote a lot down, but I remember, I think the thing that stuck out to me was you were like, nothing is like too far or anything. And I think that also then initiated people being like, oh, okay. And then also then when you came with a suggestion, we were all like, oh, you're not joking. You're like, you can work less and do more. And we're like, does she know what productivity means? Like, she Googled it.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing that stuck out.
But yeah, for sure. Because I remember saying that, like, nothing's off the cards. But also I said this to someone recently, but I don't think any employee in a business would go, how about you? I know you want us to be more productive, but how about we work less?
Yeah, pay us the
same
same though. Yeah, for that day that we're not going to do anything, but we promise to be more productive. Yeah. That wasn't the first thing that came to my mind.
No, and I can't actually remember where I saw the first bit of research around it or whatever it may be. But yeah, so I kind of put it on the table for you guys. I said, well, what about this? And I remember Nicola straight away being like, she was really passionate about it. And it just started escalating from there as like everyone seems keen. I think at that point were people keen if they thought they'd be more productive?
Absolutely not.
No. But the evidence had suggested that it does make people more productive. So I was really open to it. I'm sure there would have been other things in our meeting as well that we would have changed off the back of it. But this was like the big thing. So I kind of got involved with the 4-day week global, like the people who run it, started going on some webinars with them about how it actually works, what it looks like, learn about the 100-80-100 rule that kind of underpins it all, which basically means it's 100% pay for 80% hours for 100% productivity, and learn a lot about it. And the more time I spent learning about it, the more sure I felt that it was something that we should try. And so officially registered to be part of the UK pilot scheme, which is run June to December 2022. So it's currently, it's currently September.
I wrote /09 today and I was like, it's like very close to /12.
I know. So we're at the start of our 4th month doing it at the moment. So we just committed, and everyone was really passionate about doing it. I mean, my view was, And just to add a bit of context to this, I think there's two types of kind of business owners and entrepreneurs. There's people that really ambitious and want to see growth and drive things forward, and then there's people that do it for a lifestyle. I can't possibly work for anyone else. I need to work for myself because I want to set my own hours and whatever else.
Have control.
I firmly fall into the first category. You know, I'm serious about business. I will work all the hours it takes. I'm a big believer in kind of working hard. So I think that's a bit of a misconception around this, that people probably think I'm a lifestyle business owner and like, oh, she wants 4 days a week so she can go off and do these things. And actually it's not that at all, because I'm serious about business. But I take into account things like people is something I'm really passionate about. And, you know, I thought, well, actually, if I was working in a company and I had this opportunity, would I have wanted it? And, you know, I would have absolutely jumped at it if I thought I could still achieve the same, whilst having more personal time to myself. And I think that's how the rest of you felt. Maybe we can talk now anyway. Because you were one of the people that weren't so sure about it. So
I think I was a bit like, I'm quite curious as to, like you've just said it, you've been like, oh, you went through a bit of a process without us where you were like, I'm going to find out more information, before you were kind of shouting about it. And then you got to a point where you felt you had enough information to be like, I'm comfortable making this happen. And I agree that all of us, you know, maybe not all of us, but majority of us were kind of like, yeah, this sounds amazing, like, and weren't really thinking about the element of productivity. And we're maybe in a sense just following blindly, because we were going, well, we trust Claire, she cares about this company too. If she's bold enough to go, I think I can get more out of you with less time, that will work. We just were like, yeah, we trust you. And I was one of those people. But then as it got closer to the time where you were like, right, we're going to have a meeting, and you know, we're going to start doing 4 days a week, and started discussing the days off, I was like internally panicking, going like, Claire Kinnerbit, actually, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I can, I work over hours in 5 days. How am I going to do this? And started having like an internal, which led to an external kind of like, I'm not sure about this. But I think because you not only were 100% confident in delivering it and explaining it, but that you also then provided like training and methods and stuff, that made me feel a lot better about it. But my initial response was definitely closer to the time, like, I just don't see how this could possibly work. So I think my question to you is like, if I felt that, did you feel leading up to making that final decision apprehension, or like, oh, is this a good idea? Like, will I genuinely get more out of people that I tell they should work less? Like, at what point were you like, yeah, this is definitely something I want to do?
I'm pretty bold in my decision making, so I was pretty sure that it was definitely something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
However, did I fully believe the outcomes would be as they were? No, I wasn't bought into that it would necessarily work for us, but I was bought into giving it a chance, which, you know, I think you should do. You know, I think in life you should take opportunities and you only regret the things you don't do. So I knew, you know, after the research, I was like, this is something that we really should try. Like, people are going to love it. If it gets me the results they're saying it's going to get, it's a no-brainer, because apparently these businesses are more profitable, they achieve more, they're more productive. I'm looking at, that's the outcome I want to achieve. The mechanism of how I get there doesn't really matter, but if it happens to be a way that makes people happier and more satisfied at work, at that point there wasn't a single box that wasn't ticked. You know, so it was like, well, how can I argue against this? And you know, the people that I've heard resistance from if I've told them I'm doing it, it's because they're not open-minded. They've got an old way of thinking about it, and you know, it's just been a clear cut that wouldn't work for us. Well, actually, you've got to be open-minded, and if you want a business to grow, you've got to get used to change, which is something we talk about a lot. You know, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so, I was 100% committed to it. However, I would say my view was, let's give it a go. It's probably not going to work. Is what I thought. I thought it will work in some capacity. And we will end up with a hybrid version of it post trial. You know, And to be fair, my reasoning behind thinking it wasn't going to work was probably met with how people felt.
Yeah.
Because I thought it's not going to work for some people in the office. I genuinely worried that some people would struggle with a day at home on their own.
Yeah.
The characters in the office.
Yeah, we thrive off each other. Yeah. We thrive off just being around each other, not just working together.
And this is the thing. The world isn't 4-day a week.
Yeah.
So when you're doing 4 days, but your partner's not home, everyone's out, your friends aren't free, it can be a bit, what am I going to do with that day? So it can actually have the opposite effect. So there's so much you've got to consider. All of this been through my mind, and I was thinking, right, there might be some people that would just rather do 5 days because they want the structure, they want the support, being in the office when everyone else is.
Yeah.
I thought there might be people who really love doing 4 days and having a day off, but they're not as productive. So then there's going to have to be a conversation with them about maybe they condense their hours once throughout the trial, so they do all the hours but in 4 days, or they take a pay cut if they don't want to do it. And so I'd considered every outcome before we got there, and actually after about a month in, I'd say I don't have any of those concerns anymore.
I find it so interesting that not only, because I feel like I'm getting insight into your brain now going through this, but like not only were you thinking about everyone's reactions, you were also then foreseeing potential issues. And then on top of that, you were having, a semi-negative thought of like, I'm not sure it's going to work, all while communicating to us, I am going to do this and be bold and I want the best out of this. So yeah, it's just that's a skill in itself, and that's obviously something that you have. You've managed to kind of give us the confidence that this is going to work and that we're capable, not just as individuals but as a company, to make it work, while also foreseeing those, so that if anything happened, you were like, you know what, that's okay that that's happened because I've kind of foreseen that. And then you've also come up with solutions of like, oh, maybe we can do this to make it better. So that in itself is amazing that you've been able to do that, and that's probably why that confidence has come out in you allowing us, because you already felt like you had prepared a backup.
Yeah.
And have for December onwards, you already been thinking about things. So that is amazing. But you've then just said a month in, so we're now starting the 4th month. So I guess, for me personally, coming in super apprehensive, I would say by about month 2, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like I'm not on the sales team, I'm not noticing the extreme positive. Obviously I am because I'm in the office, I know it's going well. But on a personal level, I'm getting comments from my boyfriend going, you're happy, you're not as stressed. I'm noticing I'm leaving work on time, but I've got a day less. How am I getting all this work done? So I've been thinking about that and been really impressed with how it's worked for me personally, and then worked for like my team and everyone below me as well and above me, and it has been positive. But yeah, I guess so a month in, you've noticed it. Now by the 4th month, like between the 1st and 4th month, has it continued to be positive in your mind?
Yeah.
Has it progressed?
And you'll recall, Colleen, I think it was maybe week 2 or 3 in that there was something, me, you and Nicola all had Fridays off.
Yeah.
And it was something that the 3 of us all had to deal with.
And
everyone jumped on it,
yeah,
and it got dealt with, even though it was the day off. And massive commendments to you and Nicola as well for doing that. And that was like as worse as it probably could have got. Like it was a huge issue, and it was in the first few weeks, and it was like, oh god, it's going to happen all the time.
Yeah, for the first time, work felt inconvenient on a work day, and we were like, oh, why is this happening on my day off? But in normal terms, it's a work day.
Yeah, and everyone dealt with it, which was a sign to me of like, okay, we can deal with this, because everyone that needed to jump on it has jumped on it, even though they're not meant to be working as part of the trial. And so we've not had a day like that since those early few weeks, and I think as well, I know for a fact the first week when it was people's day off, everyone just worked from home, basically.
Yeah, everyone was just
working,
do anything.
Like, I'm not in the office, but I feel like I should still be working a little bit. And then, we went through being like, right, make sure it's in your signatures, make sure it's communicated to clients. Clients are actually really understanding, and a lot of them say, oh, don't worry, I know it's your day off. This can wait till next week. So, I think that's great. But yeah, people ask me how we're measuring it and how we're measuring this the same. And it might not be the right answer, but I just say, I'll just know.
Yeah.
Because I will. You know, and actually, if I didn't feel like I'd know, I don't know how I'd be running a business successfully if I didn't know how people were feeling and what they were doing and stuff like that. So, you know, I think it's fine to say there'll be a feeling like, but everyone embraced it and we made so many changes. And this is one of the things when I've spoken to other businesses, because a lot of people have reached out to us about doing it as well, is actually the amount of effort we put into making changes to make it successful. We had a massive change because we actually moved office literally like the 2 days before the trial was meant to start. So we moved offices. We then moved our whole operating systems. We brought in new project management tool. We were changing processes. Like everything changed. But actually, I sometimes think that's good to just do it all at once. So people really embraced it. That new office, new way of working. Let's go. So you do have to make a lot of change. We did a productivity workshop, which
was really helpful.
Super, super helpful. So I can't remember the name of the guy. You know, he's got his own scheme New Zealand, around isn't he? It. Yeah. But what we had to do, so we sat down as a team and did it, as you'll recall, and I won't go through all the stages, but one of the things was how much time do you think is spent travelling to meetings that could have been done online, in meetings that you didn't think you needed to be in, responding to or reading emails you didn't think you needed to be in, and all this other stuff. And you have to put a percentage against it, and ultimately there was going to be 4 areas. The other 3 were more related to your job, and it had to work out as 100%. And on average, in the business, people said 20% of their time was spent on that wasted work. That is a day. So immediately, we've found a day. You know, we brought in things where, like as a digital agency, we provide lots of services for our clients. We might have like 3-4 different people working on one client. Traditionally, if the client came in for a 2-hour meeting, those 4 people would all go into the 2-hour meeting. Now you go in for 30 minutes, you go back out. So we looked at ways to increase efficiencies that way. We used to do a daily meeting.
That's 4 hours. That's 5 hours. That was like almost, I know it wasn't always an hour, but like that meeting. I mean,
even say it was definitely 30 minutes a day. That's 2.5 hours straight away in a week saved that we just got rid of. And, you know, the biggest frustration for me really is, why didn't we do any of these things sooner? But it takes a catalyst, you know, as we went into the 4-day week, to challenge and to change. And that's the one thing that when I speak to other businesses, I encourage them to think about is, it's up to you if you want to do the 4-day week and how that's going to work in your business. But you've got to get in a mindset of like, what could I change? And even if you're here in the 4-day week, you think it doesn't work for me, I would challenge that. But even if you think it wouldn't work for you, what could you do differently? What could you change if you had to? Which I think is really interesting. So we changed so much. And, you know, going back to what you said about from week 1 to 4, I'd say month 1 was really bedding in. You know, we were getting used to all the new systems or
teething
whatever.
Problems, whatever it was that needed to come up.
Then month 2, we had our best ever month on record.
Because couldn't stop making sales.
We performed 44% better than our next best ever highest month, which is just unbelievable. Crazy. Just blew it out the water. Everything was getting done. Clients were happy. So we were performing 44% better and people working 20% less. Right. So, you know,
2 statistics that shouldn't go alongside each other and make sense.
Exactly. You know, yes, that was a bit of an anomaly. August, it wasn't 44% better again after that, but our performance is kind of where we had forecasted it would be. September's our financial year end, and we're really pushing for an ambitious target that I think is achievable, and I'm still confident that is achievable with people working 20% less. I don't have any concern that, if people were working 5 days, would we be more likely to hit it or anything like that. So any concerns I have about how it impacts the workforce is gone. And to go back to the point you made earlier, you know, hearing those pieces of your boyfriend saying you seem happier, you know, it's just amazing to me. And the fact that, if I'm being honest, I also, you know, along with, you said I had all these different scenarios in my head and planned them out. I believed, well, people just have to work more
Yeah.
to get it done. They'll work over, but it's fine because they're still not working as many hours as they would in a 5-day week.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they might have to stay late a bit more, but that's the price you pay because you're getting a full day off. People have actually been more relaxed and leave more on time than they did before.
Yeah.
Because people have the tools, the mentality and the attitude to get their work done whilst they're at work. And, you know, as you've seen, but to share with the listeners, one of the greatest advantages we've seen, because we wanted to stay a 5-day week business.
Yeah.
So this team are split, half of them do Monday to Thursday and half do Tuesday to Friday. The day that you're in, when there's half the team in,
it's the day of dreams.
Yeah,
it's my favorite day, and I
you
don't
work
think...
on Monday, and you're like, Monday's my favorite day.
Monday's my favorite day, and like, that just sounds strange because people are like, Mondays, Sunday blues, that kind of a thing. But I think also on top of that was never something I considered. I didn't think, on top of the fact that, you know, this is amazing, we're gonna have this 4-day working week. I never foresaw like, a day where not only would it be quieter, but I'd get more done. Like, that's just been an added extra. And I think, I guess for listeners, like, it's like, well, why is it better when there's people, you know, there's less people in? Don't you like the people you work with? Problem is, we love the people we work with. And that is what causes it, is that we do chat and we do want to catch up, especially on like a Friday before weekend and a Monday after weekend. We're not chatting about all that stuff because there's less of us and we know we need to do stuff. So I think like that day has definitely been such like an amazing day for us to get as much done as possible. But I think on top of that, you just touched on like that mentality and that attitude. We've done a course that's told us that we waste a day's work. So now we're like, okay, so we're not losing a day. That's helped my mentality, definitely. But then on top of that, I've gone, well, if I want this day off, I still need to get all my work done. And I'm going to need to work extra hard to get that work done in order to get this reward. Whereas I can do all the work I'm doing now in 5 days. And I'm probably not going to be maybe as driven to get it done in 4 because I'm like, well, I've got that 5th day. Whereas now I'm like, I got a day off and I can work extra hard and I can still get it done in the amount of time because I don't need extra hours because I've proved that I don't, those extra hours were actually being wasted. So much of it comes down to our mental state and how to handle it rather than being like, oh my God, I need to work super, super hard and get all this done and like panic about it. And I think that's led us to be more relaxed and take like an approach that's, it is possible. I am capable of doing it. But I need to work hard, but I need to be smart about what I'm doing at that time and how I'm using it. So I think that's been the positive, and along with a lot. And at the start, we did touch on there are ways that this could be misconstrued, and you've experienced that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to touch on that because we're not selling this as, we're only at the start of month 4 and this is 6 months, and there is a lot of things that needs to be analysed. It's not just, are we happy and are sales, going well? But we are going to always be honest, as we have been in all forms of communication as a company, about what difficulties there are, what challenges there are to anything that we try. And you have been so honest, and we've now noticed that sometimes that can come out, it's allowed people to just interpret it how they want to.
Yeah.
And then that has actually landed up being a huge positive. So I'll let you kind of go into that and explain kind of your experience with the press and then what that's led to, and obviously then even more press where we can't stop them calling us and asking for you.
Yeah. So the phenomenal benefit that we could have not foreseen from this was the amount of press coverage we've got and how it's got our small business out there on a national and sometimes international scale, getting this out in front of people. And it was really positive. The week the scheme went live, we were featured in pretty much every headline newspaper. I was in London actually, and I was invited to do a live TV interview.
And you weren't there for that. You were there for Michael Bublé.
I had the day off. I was there for Queen. With I can't remember. Anyway, a global TV network. So I went into a little wee workspace, went, I'll do it, and went live on TV. I really bad timing, had selfishly booked a holiday to Ibiza.
Honestly.
Because we then got a call from CNN to ask if I could go on that live.
Yeah.
And it was the time I was on a plane.
You're like, I'm on a plane, but I'm about to land. Like,
yeah.
how can we work it out?
I couldn't do it, unfortunately. So yeah, that was a shame. But yeah, phenomenal coverage. And then as it's gone on, the press want to kind of revisit and touch in with how it's going.
Yeah.
I think the key to note here, and what we can talk about more, is it's going really well so far, but it's also too early to tell.
Yeah.
So if the press are looking for a conclusion at this point, it's too soon.
Yeah.
So what happened about a month ago was we were contacted by the Telegraph and also the Daily Mail to give comment on the 4-day week. And I said all the really positive stuff. I said, we've had our best ever month, it was just after that. And then they said, has there been any challenges? And actually, one of the amazing things that's come from all the positive stuff that's happening in the business, we've hired 2 more people.
Yeah.
And so we're going through the recruitment process, and I can see, I was talking to a HR company owner yesterday about this. I said, for companies that struggle to recruit, offering a 4-day week is a massive pull. We're struggling. What should we do?
Incentive.
Let's go to 4-day week. Let's plaster it everywhere as like the reason people should come work here. Yeah. But we don't struggle to recruit. And so I didn't want to use it in that way. And actually we didn't use it as part of our recruitment at all.
No.
Because I didn't want people to come just because they want to work 4 days. And I don't know if that's a bit of my old mentality kicking in of like, they'll be slackers, whatever.
We've got a really good work ethic going on here.
Yeah. So I didn't want that to be the reason people were applying. So but it's out there publicly because of all the press. So actually, the people who we have now hired, they actually both mentioned it in the interview. We didn't bring it up, they did. They said,
I didn't even know that. They both mentioned it.
Yeah, seeing about the 4-day week. And I've then had to set realistic expectations of like, that's great, we're doing that, it's going really well. However, it's a trial, so can't guarantee that it will continue, because that's true. I can't guarantee that right now. And also what I had decided, and this is one of the things, for any business making a change as big as this, you have to kind of figure some things out along the way. And I decided that they should work 5 days during the probation, so that I know what their output is at 5 days, and then they gain the reward of 4, and then we know that their productivity has stayed the same.
Yeah.
There's also that really key piece of, for you guys, you gained something when we went to the 4-day week, because you were getting paid what you were paid, you gained a day off.
Yeah.
That's kind of on borrowed time for now. If you give it back, you've not lost. For someone coming in new, if they came in on 4 days at a salary and the trial didn't work, and I asked them to give me a day back, they feel they're losing. So we're just on to, it's just not going to work out at that point, because they're going, oh, hang on, I'm giving you an extra day for the same pay. It's like, but I was paying you for 5.
That day, just didn't want you to work it.
Yeah, so it's really difficult, and, so many trials and tribulations you have to go through for all this. And so I communicated to the press in a much more succinct way, but that was one of our challenges. And then anyway, my picture and our company and everything got featured in all these articles.
Yeah.
Bosses say 4-day week isn't working, and all of this. And it's like, that's not what I said. I didn't say it's not. I actually said it's really working. Yeah. But if I had to tell you a challenge, this is one of them.
You gave them stats on how successful it's been.
Exactly.
So far.
And, we want to paint a fair picture. These are the pros, these are the cons. And there was clearly a narrative that had been decided, no matter what I said, that they wanted to run with it being negative.
Yeah.
So I took to LinkedIn.
Yeah, good old LinkedIn.
Yeah, I had my most successful LinkedIn post to date.
Ever. I remember daily updates from Claire. For context, she sits diagonal to me in the office, and just today it's had 24,000 impressions. Today's had 29,000. So just daily stats, because we were all not only in your corner, because you were like, you fight that, you tell people the truth, but we were also just like, yes to people jumping on and going, oh yeah, typical press, trying to take the negative. People even highlighting things like, oh, you know, what are the chances that it's 2 women on the picture and woman-owned companies, and picking on things that maybe in that moment we were just angry that they had taken your words out of context.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, what's your thoughts, Colleen, just to turn it on you a little bit? So you asked me, obviously, from first month to now, how I've found it. And obviously I've been the spokesperson for this. But as someone in the business, what's your views on how it's going?
So personally, I'm now obsessed with it, and it's weird because last week we had the Monday off, but we still came in for 4 days, and I worked a Friday, and I was like, oh, but I'll be fine working a Friday. And I, on Sunday, felt a bit like I hadn't had enough days before Monday, which is strange because my entire life, my entire working life, it's been 5 days, 2 days off, and that's all you get. And just a couple months of having 3 days, by Sunday, I'm like so raring to go for the week. And on that Sunday, I didn't feel as raring. That's a genuine like feeling I had. I was like, I'm as excited to go to work because I love where I work, but I'm like, I don't feel as refreshed. I don't feel as like, yes, it's Monday. So that was strange to feel that way because that means that I'm getting comfortable with it. But on like a work note, and at work in general, like I do feel like all of it, not just the 4-day working week, everything that's kind of come into place has made me more motivated to like get things done in the time and not just work extra hours and push things and spend a little bit of time talking to people about like probably things that aren't, you know, as work related. But it's just forced me to have balance. Like I've got a routine. I thought I preferred a 5-day routine. I've, you know, been able to handle a change, and I've been able to go, right, I can have a work-life balance. I can get everything done on this Friday that maybe I couldn't get done at all, or dripped into like work and I had to go take a call outside or anything. So I really love it, and I am like hoping that it does go well for everyone else. And I think that I'm hearing other people be positive, but I do want to make sure I'm positive, like they're positive to do it, not just because they love having a day off, but because they genuinely think it's good for their well-being. But yeah, personally, like I am just happier. I'm less like stressed. I'm working better, and just general life balance, like work-life balance, has been a lot better. So good. I'm on the positive side of it. Yeah, let's just say that. So I mean, I think all of us are really grateful, like wrapping it up, because we're excited to not only be working for a company that's kind of like doing something different, but also just excited to be a part of telling other people and showing other companies that they can do this, and that like they shouldn't be scared of doing something that maybe on paper just shouldn't, you know, here, you can have the same pay, you can have less working hours, we expect more from you. Like all these things maybe might be intimidating to other people. So I think we're excited still, and we are riding a wave, but we're also grateful that we've had the opportunity, and we hope that this is going to tell other people and show other companies that you can do things that maybe not everyone thinks are going to work, because we've had that from people being like, I don't know how you think this is going to work, but we've done it and we've gone, well, we're going to prove that, you know, if it does work, we'll continue to do it, and if it doesn't, we're not scared of saying, oh, it's not really work, but at least we're able to try. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything to kind of close it off or wrap it up.
I think just a couple of things. So for anyone that does want to know more, genuinely come speak to us. Yeah. Like we're really open for that. I've spoken to so many companies, and you know, it is early days, and as a business owner, when you're making business decisions like this, it can be lonely because that decision does sit with you. Yeah. So getting some advice from other people is really helpful. Yeah, we've loved how like become an official spokesperson for the scheme. You know, literally. I'm explaining the amount of people I spoke to, but they go, but it's condensed hours. I'm like, no, the rule is 100, 80, 100, and I, you know, like, I know all the terminology. But yeah, I think just be open-minded. Like that's what we should learn from this. I mean, an interesting thing actually, I spoke to someone that I know, and she was interested about the 4-day week, but their company is so flexible. They offer such flexible working that you kind of could do a 4-day week if you want. Yeah. And I was like, so it sounds for you like actually the 4-day week wouldn't work because it would be pigeonholing. This is the only way you get your flexibility. Whereas like you're flexible in other ways. So it's not about being as stringent as it's either this or it's nothing, but it's about considering and being open-minded to that the way we used to work is archaic. Yeah. people want different, to be able to attract and retain new talent. You need to be progressive, you need to think differently, and the people who do that are the businesses that come out on top. So you've just got to go for it.
Definitely. And I think if anything, it's reward your employees, and we've heard huge people say this as well, but like, if you treat your employees really, really well, you will get so much out of them. And that is essentially what we've done here. Like, you've literally given us an opportunity, you've rewarded us, and we are now giving back everything we can. And that is going to make us more productive. And that is literally it. We came at the start of the year saying, we're going to be more productive. We have done this. And so far, that has been it. So I think 100% agree. That's not, we haven't got the results at the end, and this will be extended, but we're reaching the goal right now of productivity. And if that continues to be the result, then that is going to be obviously also, along with your feeling, the answer that we're going to get at the end of this. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We were waiting for a topic, and we were waiting to kind of have something for you to talk about.
I wasn't included on the schedule, let's be honest.
No,
I
we
was
did. We
cut
left
out
you
from
out.
this. They were like, Claire gets enough of the limelight.
Yeah, you've been in the press so much. I was like, can I even ask you to be on our little podcast? Like, is that okay? Is that as big as ITV? But no, it's been amazing to hear your side of it and your opinion, and thank you for asking mine. And yeah, if you have any questions, reach out. If you're on YouTube, please do leave comments below. And if you're on any of our podcasting platforms, you will find links to our social media where you can get in touch, or you can just give us a call. So yeah, thanks for joining, and we will be with you guys in the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.